Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. Today we have with us Mr. Arun Kumar Misra. He is the CEO and full-time director of Hindustan Zinc Limited, India's largest producer of zinc, lead and silver. Mr. Arun Misra, welcome to BQ Prime.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so as we are aware, we all have heard and read about applications of steel, aluminum and copper, but there is very little awareness about zinc in awareness in the normal to the public. So can you tell us a little bit more about the applications of zinc?
So application of zinc primarily is in galvanization of steel. Steel by itself will get corroded over time due to exposure to air and moisture. Whereas if you coat it with zinc, then that it will prevent that corrosion of steel. And hence most of the products that you use in your daily life, and they are normally made out of galvanized steel.
Okay.
And most of the cars that people use in Europe or USA or the Western world, by their codes of practice, they have to be galvanized steel.
Okay.
So Indian steel makers mostly about their production of 40% or 45% of the production capacity goes into flat products, rolled products, and 20% of that should be galvanized.
20% of that should be galvanized. Okay. So as of now, what is the market share that HZL has in zinc as well as lead and silver in the country?
So in lead, we are almost 100% of the Indian market.
Okay.
And in roughly about maybe close to more than between 85 to 90% in the domestic market. In zinc, we are 80% of domestic market. And in silver, we are 10% of India's domestic market. But we are the only producer of zinc, almost only producer of lead, apart from there are secondary lead producers. And third is in silver also, we are the only producer of silver in India.
Okay. But what is the reason why we still have only 70 or 80% of the market share when we are the only producers in the country?
So there are customers. In India, zinc is used in not only in galvanizing, also it's a principal component in various alloys.
Okay.
So at the high-end fittings in your house that you see, I cannot be quoting the brand names, but the typical bathroom fittings, which are very shiny and modern fittings, they use alloy, and those alloys use a lot of zinc.
Okay.
So it's just not the galvanizing; it's also the other application of zinc. Altogether, we are 80%. Also, there are big manufacturers of steel. They always would like to have a second option,
Okay.
so which they keep open for some amount of imported zinc apart from us.
Okay. So since you have taken over HZL in 2002, after that, what has been the pickup in demand as well as production? Since then, how much have we grown? And what is the kind of outlook we see for zinc going ahead?
So when Hindustan Zinc was disinvested in 2002 and Vedanta picked up the management of the company, this company was producing about 100,000 tons.
Okay.
Now it is producing about 1 million tons. So 10 times growth has happened. There were hardly 2 or 3 mines, which are now 8 mines which are operating. There must be about 3,500 or 4,000 people working those times now, 25,000 people working. Directly, indirectly, more than 5 to 7 lakhs of people are dependent on Hindustan Zinc today. So that shows the entire growth of economy around zinc in a small part of Rajasthan that can happen through a good disinvestment process, and of course with a extraordinary quality of management that Vedanta provides in the resource sector. We are the only homegrown multinational resource company.
Okay.
We are into iron ore, we are into steel, we are into aluminium, we are into zinc making, we are into copper, we are into petroleum and gas. So this is a huge behemoth, and their management, their experience of exploration has helped the company to grow. Also, there has been investment by the group into this company. More than 15,000-20,000 crores of money have been invested already.
Since 2002
Since
till
2002 till now.
Till now, okay. And how's been the impact of COVID around zinc? Looking at like entire all the sectors were affected during this period. Have we recovered completely since then?
I think COVID is behind us. So COVID period, entire recovery is slightly more than what was there pre-COVID. So the COVID is no longer the issue. Of course, we had a setback during COVID, but if you look at our numbers that we produced, the numbers produced during the COVID period were also highest ever. So our
Okay.
operations were stopped for hardly 15-20 days, but we picked it up quickly and we went full throttle. So we were producing at one of the highest ever numbers even during COVID period.
So the reason could be because we are the manufacturers. We are not so much dependent on outside the world, and our majority of the customers are also in India.
One is we are integrated producer. We have our own mines. Second, the group and the Hindustan Zinc company quickly rolled out hundreds of new ways to manage the workforce during COVID.
Okay.
Including we had personal insurance of more than 10 lakhs for each worker, contract or otherwise, anybody. We took care of vaccination of their entire families. We provided oxygen from our plant to all the hospitals nearby. We provided facilities for air ambulance to pick up anybody seriously sick. So like that, then we had hospitalization expenses completely taken care of by the company for all employees, irrespective of their executive, non-executive or contract worker. So that created a lot of confidence among the people to continue working in our mines because everything else is taken care by the company. And that approach helped us. And we set up about 120 bed COVID hospital for the by getting all the facilities here. So that kind of activity we took, and it resulted in highest ever production numbers during COVID period.
And so, as far as pricing is concerned, now given the global situation that we are in, especially the supply side constraints, and also now that Russia-Ukraine war and commodity prices have been affected, what is the kind of pricing that you see for zinc going ahead? And I think yesterday during our conversation, you said that even the peak was reached during that period.
So very recently we had a peak of $4,000. But there are two schools of thought. One school says, looking at current stocks in the metal exchanges, the stocks are one of the lowest in a decade. At that lowest level of stocks, the prices are bound to rise.
Okay.
Whereas other set of equations says the energy crisis in Europe is not over. Although Germany and others have their highest ever strategic reserve of gas, but this is the winter time.
Yeah.
So they would like to protect their gas for keeping the houses warm rather than running industries. So there are some smelters which are still not operating. So those will have impact. But in my calculation, overall, if we see, the gas offtake by Europe from Russia has not been less. It has been also highest ever. So that way, frankly speaking, how much of the impact can be attributed to gas is something to be seen. Of course, coal prices have had shot up hugely, and that has also impacted the energy prices all around. So looking at all this, my firm belief is US with its push for infrastructure will grow at 2% kind of a GDP growth rate. That should be good enough for LME to remain at around $3,000, $3,100 per ton. That should be the fair outlook at least for a quarter.
For this quarter, the third.
For this quarter, then.
Okay. And normally we associate growth in zinc with the growth of steel industry. So if we assume growth of steel at 7 to 8%, what is the kind of growth we see for zinc in this financial year and also next financial year?
Indian economy is slightly different from, or emerging economies are slightly different from developed economies because the per capita consumption of steel numbers are different. So in Indian scenario, the steel growth rate will be equivalent to GDP growth rate, somewhere around, if the GDP grows around 6.5%, 7%, and then the steel growth will also be around 5.5%, 6.5%. If that be the case, then zinc should grow at around 1.5%. So if the GDP grows at more than 10%, we can safely assume zinc will grow at 2.5%. So in the long run, with India's economic stability, political stability, continuous push for infrastructure, I think in India 2.5 to 3% growth in zinc is not a difficult thing.
For this financial year?
No, for the next 2-3 years.
Okay. And as far as the demand centers for zinc is concerned, which are the locations and which are the sectors that normally look at zinc for applications?
No, as you see, as I said, most of this goes to galvanization. But while the steel plants are in the eastern part of India, there are standalone galvanizers quite a lot in northern part of India as well as western part of India because they want to be closer to the customers who are manufacturing auto or other white goods sector.
Okay.
So that's why our customers are evenly spread between north, south, west, and east.
And as far as your expansion of mines are concerned, what is the current production level that we are at? And what is the kind of expansion we are looking at, given the kind of demand we foresee in coming quarters?
No, so we had just completed our expansion program for 1.2 million ton metal in concentrate, but however we have not yet reached there. So last year we crossed 1 million ton. This year also we should be crossing 1 million ton in metal in concentrate, along with first time 1 million ton metal production. But if I look at immediate future, we have to cross 1.2 million ton.
Okay.
And once that happens, then we will launch expansion program for 1.35 million ton.
Okay, this 1.2 you are looking till when?
By 2020, next financial year.
Achha, by next financial year. And after that, 1.35?
1.3 next financial year also. Currently, we should launch our expansion program for 1.35 million ton.
And which are these mines where the expansion activities will be taken?
So out of 8 mines now, say Agucha mine is a matured mine. There is
Okay.
nothing much to expand there. SK mine will also have very little bit of expansion. The mines which have huge amount of property not yet fully expanded are Jawar mines and Rajpura Darima mines. So they would see a lot of expansion.
Okay. And when we talk about expansions and especially focus on green decarbonization activities that government is focusing on, what will be your entire strategy to roll out green and decarbonize, become carbon neutral? What is the timeline that you are looking at?
So we are signatory to science-based targets. So we are not talking about intensity.
Okay.
We are talking about absolute number. So that means any growth that will happen, we cannot be depending by saying that per ton will remain same.
Okay.
Rather, we are talking the absolute number should go down. Accordingly, we have signed a power purchase agreement for 200 megawatt of renewable power, which should be landing in our plant in 2024. And once that happens, parallelly, we are working on increasing the agreement to 200 by another 250 megawatt. So somewhere between 2028-29, we should be 450 megawatt of renewable power, which will be about 80% of our power consumption. So that should actually give us, even today also, with a 550 megawatt demand, we produce about 475 megawatt, rest will buy from grid.
Okay.
So while we will be doing, say, 80% or 75% of our demand fully green ourselves, rest 20-25% will be sourcing green power from the grid.
Okay.
One of our plant in Pantnagar, silver manufacturing plant, is already green because it is being fed 100% green power by the Uttarakhand Electricity Board.
By when you see completely replacing thermal power with, say, renewable?
By 2030.
By 2030.
Yeah.
Apart from that, as far as SOx and NOx emissions are concerned, what exactly will be done for that?
No, all our emissions are latest technology we have put in. So emissions are something technically engineering solutions we have to do. So that we and Pollution Control Board monitors very strictly. So that we are no special vehicle that we have to start. The area that we are working along with power is the water. Because Rajasthan is a water scarce state. We are already 2.4 times water positive and we want to become 5 times water positive during this program. So in that case, we are putting up a huge water treatment plants in Rampur Agucha mine, in Jawar mine. We have put up zero liquid discharge plant, meaning all the effluent water is treated, and finally, it is all the waste in the water comes out in the form of salt crystals. Rest all waters are used.
So and that salt crystal is used?
That salt crystal is used back in our process. Most of them is sodium sulfate, so we use it back in the process. So we have put up zero liquid discharge plants in Chanderiya, in Debari smelter, and now in Dariba smelter. Now we are putting up 2 big water treatment plants in Jawar and in Agucha, so that all the mine water that we pump out will be treating them and using it for our purpose, and cut down on fresh water from the rivers or the dams that we take.
Okay. Yesterday you were also talking about this sulfuric acid. There is a plant that you are looking to set up. Can you give more details?
So we produce huge amount of sulfuric acid, which we sell to a lot of users of sulfuric acid, various sulfonators or fertilizer plants in nearby states. But that involves transportation of sulfuric acid over longer distances on the road, which is quite hazardous. So we are putting up a fertilizer plant, DAP plant to be specific, and we are putting it up in Chanderiya. which will be 0.5 million ton capacity, expandable to 1 million ton capacity.
Okay. Over what period is that?
0.5 million ton will be set up in 18 to 20 months, starting from January 2023. And once that is done, we will look at that if the market is good and we are able to sell all the fertilizer that we produce, we will expand to, because the basic prototype of the design that we have taken is for 1 million ton.
1 million. That is over a period of?
Over a period, another 3 years or so.
Another 3 years. And what's the kind of investment you'll be looking at?
So this one will be around 1600 crores or something like that.
For 0.5?
For 0.5.
4.5, and then another 4.
Another.
Okay. So, as far as you were also talking about greening and replacing your vehicles, which had been using, say, diesel or other.
Yeah.
So, what's your plan on that and kind of investment that will require?
So, in our vehicles that we use in the underground mines, which are all very complicated mining equipment, they are all fossil fuel based, mostly diesel. So, we want to convert them into battery operated equipment. So, and we have a program every 4 or 5 years. We have to replace these vehicles because they cross their useful life. Okay. So whatever we are replacing now, we are always evaluating or putting in, if the technology permits and the usability has been successful, to put in battery operated mining equipment. So as a first step, this year we are introducing 4 utility equipment in SK mine. Okay. And then also we are tying up with all the manufacturers for introducing more and more equipment as the time goes, and technology hopefully will develop also much faster.
So these vehicles you are getting from which country?
These are normally they're from Sweden and European countries.
So all put together, how many vehicles you will have to replace?
No, we have about 900 odd equipment.
900.
So it will take about 5 years or 6 years to replace all of them.
Yeah. And as far as zinc is concerned, coming back to zinc, what is the total potential that we have in India, mostly in Rajasthan and other adjoining areas?
Most of the zinc occurs in Rajasthan and parts of Gujarat on the bordering with Rajasthan. Yeah. So that is the only area.
Is government planning to come out with fresh tenders to allot and allocate more such mines for development?
Yeah, as you know, it's no longer allot and allocate, it's more on auction. So government is working on putting up various new blocks for auction. So they are currently in the process of defining the blocks, segregating which will be for combined lease, which will be for mining lease. So that work is going on.
So you are planning to participate in those?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Whenever
but have you all identified what is the kind of estimate that we have for reserves and for production?
No, we make public our data on our reserves and resources every year. Okay. So our exploration data is also certified by independent consultants, and then it put it up for view of all the stakeholders. So as of now, we have more than 10 years of current production capacity as the reserve, proven reserve. Okay. And about 25 years is on the resource side, which is yet to be fully proven.
Okay. And most of our domestic demand is met by HZL itself. But still I've come to understand that still we export outside India. What is the reason for that?
Why one is we produce more than India's demand. So we have to export. There is no other way out. Second is, as I said, from the Indian market, roughly about 15 to 20% is import. Part of the import is because of various alloys, so that we will have to make. And part of the import is also by the steel companies who want to make an alternative choice. So in that case, government, India has got treaty agreement with Korea and Japan, which allows them to sell zinc in India.
So it's a free trade agreement.
It's a free trade agreement. So that quantity is also available in India, which also competes with us.
Okay. And can you talk a little bit more on technological side as far as companies concerned? What kind of technological upgradations you would be looking at? Where it will be required?
If I can address that, Hindustan zinc mines are the world class.
Yeah. Yesterday we saw one at Zawari.
It's not only told by us. Many of our competing international company CEOs, when they visit, they all give comment that you are running world-class mines. Okay. Why I say world-class, it's not just the imported equipment, it's also the infrastructure that we have created. Every mine that you go to, 2 of our biggest mines, Agucha and SK mine, are fully Wi-Fi enabled. The data streaming, live streaming takes place from the machines to the system, and then in head office, in the collaboration center, we can see all the live data of all the machines running. That helps us to predict the operation, to do fault finding, diagnosis, all that can be done. At the same time, we are able to track each and every person, each and every equipment, So any uncertain, anything that would happen, one could easily trace what is where and what happened. And so it's a fully one of the best automated operations that I have ever seen in any mine.
All these technological upgradations and what you are taking up is done in India. It's all based out of here. Do we
No,
have some
various-
research and development centers required for that?
No, most of the mining technologies do get developed either in Europe or in Australia.
Okay.
So we do get from there. At the same time, Indian manufacturers are currently in the process of adopting the technology globally available.
Okay.
They don't want to spend time to go through the learning curve.
Okay.
So we are, of course, Cisco has been our partner in providing connectivity into the mines and all that. So, yeah, that's how we.
As a company, would you still be interested in looking at precious metal mining and some other mining, because we are
Of
already in silver?
Of course, our core competency is mining at 1 kilometer depth, underground mining,
Right.
and also processing of mineral, which a grade of say only 4% of the ore is the metal, and we are able to take it out through processing. So that's our core competency. So any such metal, if it is deep-seated and base metal, whether copper, palladium, or any such thing, whenever they come up, any such thing will be interested in that.
Okay. Would you as a company be interested in looking at zinc mines abroad? Looking at acquiring some zinc mines? Any such thoughts which you
No, this thought is always there. My vision I have presented to board, and we have had discussions in the board. So whenever the point is first, here the 1.2 million ton has to be achieved.
Okay.
Once we do that, perhaps then we'll be ready for next set of growth abroad.
Which are these locations where you'll be looking
It
at?
can be South Africa, it can be any part of
Australia also is rich in mines.
if it is available for sale.
Okay. And so as far as you also spoke about your company's financials, little bit yesterday, but to take it a little bit more further, can you talk about your like next 2 quarters or next financial year? What would be your operating margins and what would be the kind of
what we do? We have a system that we give a market guidance. So that market guidance is sacrosanct. Beyond that, we don't try to speculate future. Because we should not be guiding people to make their calculations in a particular way. So that guidance as of now remains. We are committed that we will be producing about more than 1 million ton that we will produce. We should be somewhere around $1,250, $1,260 per ton on the cost side. And we should be doing about 700, 710 tons of silver. So that will produce. Rest is a profit is a function of price and market dynamics. Very difficult to predict. We can only talk about past. So if you look at our numbers are available on the website. But in H1, I think somewhere around 9,600 odd crores, we made an EBITDA and about 4,700 crores of PAT, which was both were one of the highest. Of course.
What is the kind of cash and cash equivalent that we have right now? And
some 15,000 crores or so.
15,000 crores. And where are you looking to deploy it somewhere? Or
no, all cash are normally not kept idle. They are deployed in various instruments which earn fair amount of yield at zero risk. And so we have got investment policy by the group itself, so that the money does not get eroded in any point of time.
What was the capex plan for FY23?
This year also we have a plan somewhere around 400 million or so sustenance capex we will spend.
Okay.
Apart from that, maybe around for the fertilizer project and one roaster we are putting up some close to about two together should be around 2,200, 2,400 crores.
Okay.
That will spend.
So what is this roaster that you're talking about?
That roaster we are putting up additional roaster to increase the melting capacity of our smelters.
Okay. So all put together would be $400 million for FY23.
Roughly.
Okay. And any plans for raising funds or
No, we have our enough cash. Our operations generate enough cash to fund all this.
And what's your outlook? I mean, to conclude, would you?
Outlook, zinc is always a metal that will be needed. Forget the temporary fluctuations. Zinc is the metal which reduces corrosion of steel. So as long as the demand for steel is there, the zinc will always be there. The applications are bound to increase over time. While galvanization was mostly for flat product, now galvanization is being asked for long products also. So house making, rebars, are also being galvanized. Government is talking about making railway lines galvanized.
Yeah.
Zinc is a nutrient in case of a zinc sulfate crystals for soil nutrient.
Okay.
Zinc is used in medicine packing purposes.
Nowadays,
Zinc
even
is a medicinal value.
water and
What? So it's a, and zinc will be another alternative to in battery manufacturing.
okay.
And like zinc air batteries,
Yeah, yeah.
people are looking at. So the applications will keep on increasing, and as the quality of civilization grows, more and more alloy metal, comes to use. So more and more smart cities, more and more houses will have more and more alloy made furnishings in the house. So zinc is a good future.
Yeah. In percentage term, can you say like how much kind of percentage growth we see
Overall
next
growth
2
in
to
zinc
3
in
years?
India is 3.5%.
3.5%.
Yeah.
Okay. So recently, you all employed the first women in mining sector, especially in our zinc mining. So can you talk about future of women in such sectors, which normally women had not been participating or working in?
So Hindustan Zinc was first employment provided first time employer of women in mining, even when it was open cast mine.
Okay.
So even in open cast mine, Hindustan Zinc provided employment opportunity to women mining engineers. Now what we are talking about is in the underground. After in 2019, Government of India changed the regulation and allowed women to work in underground mining. From then on, we have been clear that we have to put more and more women in mining. What we are doing is we are making a good campaign around it solely because we want women aspirants for JEE and engineering entrances not to rule out these as an option in life.
Right.
And all said and done, whatever be the kind of economy a government or a country has, mining and agriculture will remain forever in the civilization.
Right.
So this is a bread and butter of employment provider. And women should not lose out. And for them, this is a new opportunity that has come.
Right.
If you are a woman and you are studying mining engineering, your job is assured, good position is assured, simply because this sector has just started opening up to women. And all companies are looking to women leaders who would bring in new thought, new way of working in the mines. For hundreds of years, mines have been dominated by men. So it has given a particular stigma to the mining culture, the way the mines look like, the way the mines operate. We are looking to now women who come to mines, they will make the mines different and the entire stigma around mining will go away.
Okay.
If the society sees women working in mining. And we will be successful in that.
And what kind of incentives do you provide to really attract and make it a passion for women to take up as a career in their life?
One thing, the incentive is equal opportunity that we provide. Second, if the choice of selection remains between a woman to lead the team and there is a almost equal competent man, we would give positive discrimination to the woman to lead the team. Because this is the need of the hour. While even after all, whatever we may do in the decision making, I think somewhere around only 17-18% women are there.
Okay.
So we have still 80 to 90% controlled by men only. So once we are able to put women in the decision making positions, that will encourage and spur more and more young women to join this industry and make it a career. We are very proud of the girls who work in our mines. They are equally proud mining engineer like anybody else, and they don't feel they are any different.
Yeah. One would be the engineers in the white collar job.
We have got workmen also now coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they going underground in the mines?
It's not allowed fully.
Not allowed.
Not fully allowed.
But slowly you would look at
it. Will come. The moment we are also working with government on this aspect, that how to make is it possible to make one section of the mine completely women run, from workman to mining mate to engineer to everybody.
Oh. Thank you very much, sir, for this comprehensive interview and also making us aware about zinc, which not many people are. And I am hopeful that with our interview, more people will become aware about this metal and its application.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.